Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and today I have my holiday book haul. So as many other people on BookTube did, I received a lot of books for Christmas, which I'm feeling so happy about, so grateful that so many people were willing to give me things that I absolutely love and adore. And so I wanted to go over those books today. I know it's a little bit late, but I feel like other people have been doing book hauls from like Christmas-ish time lately, so I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon. So not only did I receive a lot of books as gifts, but I ended up going to a couple of bookstores and getting some really good deals on used books. So about half of these were gifted to me and then I bought the other half. So I'm gonna go through the gifted books first and then I will talk about the ones that I purchased myself. So the first thing I wanna talk about is the BookTube Secret Santa. I participated in that and was gifted 2 books actually by my Secret Santa, and I will link her channel down below. This was organized by Michaela from Michaela Reading and it was so much fun. I'm so grateful. My Secret Santa gave me Vicious by VE Schwab, which is like one of my most anticipated reads ever, and it was the first book I read in 2019. I wrote up a little review on it, so I will link that down below, but I just really enjoyed this sort of like villainous sci-fi story about basically superpowers and superhumans. So I was so happy to finally have a copy of this and I'm so happy to have finally read it. And then she also was so kind and sent me a second book, which is like so much more than I was expecting, and that is The Burning Man by Solange Ritchie. I think this is a self-published book. I'm not totally sure, but it sounds kind of like mystery. Yeah, it's about a FBI agent and pathologist, forensic scientist, who is trying to solve a string of murders by a serial killer that they are calling the Burning Man. So sounds intense. Yeah, I'm very, very intrigued by this. And again, thank you so much to Jess. You are so kind. I received a couple books from some of my friends here on BookTube. The first one was One True Loves by Jenkins. My lovely friend Becca from Becca Iris Ruiz sent this to me because I read 2 of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books in 2018, loved them. She's read all of them, I believe, and adores them. And so this feels like very apropos that she was the one to buy this for me. This is probably the Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I'm most intrigued by. It's basically about a woman who marries her high school sweetheart. On their like first wedding anniversary, he goes off on assignment. He's a nature photographer or something like that, and goes missing. And several years later, she meets another man, falls in love, and then her husband, who was previously missing, turns back up, and so now she's trying to decide like who she wants to be with, essentially. So it sounds like a weird twist on a love triangle story and one that I'm very intrigued by. And I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Everyone knows that. So thank you, Becca, for sending this to me. And then my dear friend Spencer from Common Spence sent me Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. And actually, I am buddy reading this with Spencer and Jocelyn from Yogi with a Book. And we just started it yesterday, and it is the dark fantasy that we were all looking for. Let me tell you, this is about an assassin. She's like 16 years old. She's trying to get revenge on the man that killed her father or something like that. I've heard amazing things about this book as well as the sequel, God's Grave, and I think there's a 3rd book coming out maybe this year or next, but this is definitely one that I've had my eye on for a long time, so I'm really excited to read this with 2 of my favorite people here on BookTube. So thank you, Spencer, for getting this for me so that we can read it together. And speaking of Jocelyn from Yogi with a Book, she so kindly sent me A Million Junes by Emily Henry. I know virtually nothing about this. Actually, when Jocelyn sent this to me, she said she picked it 90% because of the cover, and same. I feel like I've seen this on, or Emily Henry in general. One of my favorite book bloggers, Emma Reads Too Much, loves Emily Henry, and this one, for whatever reason, sounded most intriguing to me. I think it is a little bit of magical realism, contemporary, something like that. Yeah, I'm so excited to have this. I've heard really, really good things about Emily Henry, so I think this is going to be one that I really enjoy, and I'm excited to get to it. It sounds like a forbidden love story, which should be good. All right, and then from my family, I received a couple of books. So the first one is The Country of the Pointed Furs by Sarah Orne Jewett. And I don't really know much about this. My mom got this at a bookstore in Maine, up near Acadia National Park. She and my sister went for vacation over the summer, and this is by a main author, and it was written, I want to say like in like the late 17th century. No, 19th century. Yeah, it was written in 1896, which is really cool. I mean, obviously there are not a lot of women who were like actually getting published at that point. Yeah, I'm really excited to read this and like have some story about like small town Maine is kind of my assumption. I think it takes place on the coast, and it's just like such a cool book. There's cat hair all over it because it's been sitting on my floor in a pile with all of these books. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be really interesting and totally different than any other book that I'm reading. And then my parents also got me a book that was like super high up on my wish list, and that is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This is a family saga, like a generational story. Honestly, I don't know much about it other than it being a story that follows like 4 generations of a family, but I've heard so many people absolutely loved and adored this. I think Joss from Scribbles Reads read this and really loved it. My former supervisor read this when she was on maternity leave, I think she said, and like flew through it, couldn't get enough of it. And yeah, I've just heard incredible things, so I'm so excited to finally have this. This is definitely a good like sit down in the winter, crank through it. Something about like historical fiction and generational sagas during like cozy winter time. I'm all about it. And I don't have these here with me, which I'm very sad about, but my brother got me one of the greatest gifts of all time. He gifted me the first 3 books in the illustrated Harry Potter series, the 3 that are currently out and published, which is just like so nice and kind and so thoughtful. But he like handed me the gift and it literally weighed like 100 pounds. And so I was like, what on earth could he have possibly gotten me? And I opened it and was so touched, but it didn't fit in my luggage. It was too heavy to bring back with me, so it's still in Maine with my parents, but luckily that probably means that my brother can like flip through it. He said it was really hard to just have them sitting in his room waiting for like months. I guess he bought them a long time ago, which is just like so funny to think of because my brother loves Harry Potter. And so just like the temptation of those books sitting there like shrink wrapped in plastic, just like taunting him. I get a kick out of that. But I did leave them in Maine, so I wouldn't be surprised if he flipped through them. Would be so happy if he did. Yeah, that was like one of the best gifts that I've ever received. And then my sister got me a book as well, and she got me Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Ngan. I'm so excited to read this book. It is stunning. Obviously, the cover itself that makes me want to read it, but it's also getting so much hype. People are loving this book. I saw it compared to Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, but only gayer, which sounds like great. Sounds like it's going to be right up my alley. Essentially, this is a story that takes place in a world where the king who rules over the society picks a bunch of paper girls, he calls them, basically like concubines as far as I can tell. And our main character, Leigh, is chosen to be a paper girl but then falls in love with another one or something like that. Again, I've just heard amazing things about it. I want to read this very, very soon. So yeah, thank you to my sister for giving this to me, and just like, can't wait. I can't wait. And now I'm moving into the books that I bought for myself. But the first one I have is A Man Called Uwe by Fredrick Backman. This is one that I've been wanting to read for a long time. I was really intrigued when I saw the movie that came out a couple years ago that I believe is in Swedish, because I think Fredrick Backman, yeah, he's a Swedish author, and I think the movie was made in Sweden. I honestly could not tell you at this point what this book is about. It's just been on my list for ages. Basically anything by Fredrick Backman. I've heard really good things about Beartown as well. But yeah, this sounds like a grumpy old man story, and that sounds really hilarious to me. So I bought it. Oh, another one that I guess I was kind of gifted. My sister bought a hardcover copy of Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi to match her hardcover of Witchwood, and so she already had the paperback and gave me this because I want to read it. I don't remember much about what this one is about, but I'm excited regardless. I think it's going to be really enjoyable, and my sister and I might try to read this one together at least. Next up, I picked up Scythe by Neal Schusterman. This is one that I feel like people really got into in the last year or two, especially once the sequel came out, Thunderhead. This takes place in a world where there's like no death. Disease doesn't exist. You don't die of old age. Basically, if a scythe decides that you need to die, they kill you. I don't know. Nothing bad exists, but there is like a darker underbelly to the society. I think this is sort of about the corruption within the world of Scythes. That's a really hard word to say. I am really excited to read this. Again, it's gotten a lot of hype, and I've never read anything by Neal Schusterman, or at least not that I remember. And I'm excited that this will be the first one because it's getting so much love. Then I picked up Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Reckoner series, which is his YA series. I actually picked up the second and third book a long time ago, actually for free. It was like being sold at the library, and I've been like waiting to find the first book in hardcover as well, but I just like haven't been able to. So I saw this one for $4 in paperback, and I really want to read this series, so I was like, you know what, I'm never gonna find the hardcover copy, I'll just pick it up. So yeah, I think this is sort of like a post-apocalyptic sort of sci-fi world. There's a very vague synopsis on the back. I at this point feel like I own a ton of Brandon Sanderson and just haven't I haven't read any of them yet. So I'm just like really wanting to dive into something that he's written that's definitely high on my list for 2019. And it might be this. This feels like a good place to start, but hopefully I check off Sanderson in 2019. Then, oh my god, I cannot believe I found this as a used copy at one of my favorite bookstores in Boston with my sister. Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. This came out like really recently, like around, I don't know, maybe in the fall of 2018, and like everyone loves this. Everyone is super into it. It sounds really weird, a little creepy, kind of mystery, and also has a sapphic love story from what I remember. Yeah, I'm really excited to read this. Again, I don't know much about it, but when I saw it, I was like, well, obviously I have to get it. And then I was also able to find the Grisha trilogy used in like the new paperback editions, and I'm super excited about this. I have read this series before, but with the new book coming out in like a week, King of Scars, I really want to reread them. Obviously, I'm not going to reread them before that happens, but I would like to do so sometime this winter before I get to King of Scars, perhaps. But yeah, I obviously didn't own these before, and I have been really wanting to read them. I think I'm actually going to buddy read these with my brother and sister. My sister has read Shadow and Bone, so I think my brother and I are going to tackle this together first, and then she's going to jump in for the other two books and read those with us, which is going to be super fun. My brother just finished the Six of Crows duology and really loved them, so that will be so much fun. Can't wait for King of Scars, and yeah, I talked about these a little bit already in my like winter TBR video, so. Alright, that is everything. Those are all of the books that I either received or purchased for myself over the holiday season. Again, so grateful to everyone who was kind enough to gift me something. If you've read any of these, or if you think any of them should be moved up my TBR, definitely let me know in the comments, or you can find links to my social media accounts in the description box. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on my next video. But until then, happy reading. Bye.